Hey there YouTube, this is Punkrock Matt with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the Mafex Superman from the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice line. I got this guy from Hobbylink Japan for 4,675 yen, which is roughly $46. Before we get to the height and size comparisons, just a quick disclaimer, I've heard some nightmare stories about these figures from Mafex breaking, so I'm going to be handling him pretty gingerly for this review. Well, let's see how tall he is. He's actually about 6.5 inches. It's taller than I thought. Here he is next to the Mafex Batman from the same series. They're about the same size, but Superman might be just a little bit taller. Here he is next to Super Action Statue Jotaro Kujo, and he's a little bit taller, which I find kind of surprising because the Super Action Statue figures are usually on the tall side. Here he is next to the 3A Hatchery Guard, and he's a decent amount taller. Here he is next to the DC Multiverse Batman, and Batman's just a little bit taller. And for continuity's sake, here is, to finish out the size comparisons, Marvel Legends Daredevil. Superman's a bit taller than Daredevil. As I've already stated, this guy could very easily break, apparently, from what other people have been saying. I just got these guys today. I say these guys because I also got Batman. I haven't had any real issues with them yet, but I would just lose my fucking mind if one of these things broke, so I might talk more about the articulation than actually show it off. Well, start from the top. He's got a ball-jointed neck, and he can look way up, which I do like a lot for flying poses. There's also another ball joint at the base of the neck. He can look down quite a bit, solemnly. He's failed his city. There is a double ball joint at the shoulder. I'm not sure how well you can see that. It works fairly well. There's not quite as much movement in there as I thought there would be, but it's not bad either. I mean, he can definitely move his arms. There is a bicep cut. I'd like to mention that there's kind of a gap on this one. I don't care for that too much, but it does move. Has a double ab crunch. I'm not going to move that too much because the picture I saw online was broken right there. He's got a hinge and socket wrist. Oh, I skipped the double jointed elbow, which has a pretty good amount of movement there. I also like the way the back of the elbow is sculpted. It looks pretty good. As I said, socket and hinge wrist. Can turn, swivel, all that. There's a ball joint at the hip that can move down and back up. There's also a thigh cut. The thigh cut is locked up on this side, and I'm not going to force it. Double jointed knee looks pretty good, although there's that little gap right there. I can't really complain about that too much, though. Ball joint at the ankle, and a good amount of, actually less than I thought, a decent amount of ankle pivot, we'll say. And then there's a toe joint. This leg at the knee, at the top part of the knee, is a little bit loose, and overall his articulation is good, but this whole leg worries me a bit. And for a figure this expensive, I'd love to feel a little more assured that he's not going to just break if I'm messing around with him too much. Alright, try to get him in a decent pose here. before we move on to accessories, we're going to take a quick look. Oh, one thing I actually kind of forgot about in the articulation, there's wire in the bottom of his cape, which is implemented fairly well, but it's actually done a lot better with the Batman figure in this same series. I could sort of do without it with this guy. But yeah, we're going to take a quick look at his package. Not this one, the one he came in. So, it's pretty nice packaging. You can see some of his accessories in there. View of the figure on the side, says Mafex Superman action figure. Batman v Superman in the symbol. Have some pretty cool poses here on the back. Definitely nice stuff. I like the box a lot. I'm a huge fan of resealable packaging, and that's one thing you can almost always count on with Japanese figures. Not so much with American ones, unfortunately. It does say ages 15 and up, so if you're 14, sorry about your fucking luck. And on the bottom here, it says something kind of interesting. All the Metacom toy products are studied by own research and development section continuously in order to keep the best quality. This may cause minor deviation within product depends on its production time. The outer package is just a protection against damage. We do not replace this package even if it is damaged. Photos shown on package's prototype, it may differ from actual product, etc., etc., etc. The important part there, though, is that research and development bit. From what I've heard, there have been several problems with quality on these guys, and I hope that's something they improve, because I have the whole line pre-ordered, except for Deadshot. I'm not a big Deadshot fan, and I don't want to pay this much money and worry continuously my figure's just going to break. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when you're thinking about making a purchase of this guy or other Mafex figures. Next, we're going to take a look at his accessories, the most important of which is this stand, I think. I love when a figure comes with a stand, and since one of his legs is a little loose, he definitely needs it. Plus, you know, for flying poses and stuff like that, you just want a stand. Alright. Well, he's got this alternate head, which I will probably never use. It's not a bad head or anything, but I guess he's like charging up his heat vision or something like that. I just don't like it as much as the standard one, so not worried about it. I would interchange them to show you what it looks like, but as I've said before, fragile figure, not trying to break it, so sorry. And then I'm also probably not going to use these hands, so I'm just going to keep them in the package and show them to you. He's got some splayed out hands, so those are kind of cool. But as far as accessories go, he's a little underwhelming, I think. Before I move on to my general thoughts on the figure, just a quick apology. I do have a Mattel Superman from the Man of Steel line, and I wanted to compare him, but he's in storage right now, and it'd be a huge hassle to go get him. I just wanted to get this review up because, you know, he's a new figure. He's, you know, essentially much like this figure, except nicer. So, as far as likeness goes, I think he looks pretty much like Henry, and you can see here, I mean, it's not like he looks nothing like him, but he could look a little more like him. He's a little too tan, for one. I know Superman gets his powers from the sun, but if you think about how a suntan works, you're essentially taking damage to your skin, which makes it darker, and Superman wouldn't be damaged by the sun, so he'd be pretty pale, much like he is in the movie. I also think he's a little thin. Superman is pretty jacked in both Man of Steel and especially BvS, so he's a little bit skinny. The looseness on the leg, I'm not crazy about. The gap right there between bicep and shoulder. I'm not nuts about. He has a little... Oh, Lord. His head just came off. Well, you can see there's some paint smudge right there on his neck, which isn't a huge deal, but I'm not happy about it. Okay, I think I got that back on there. Also, his hands are a little small. Like, what's going on with that? His hands should be bigger than that, certainly. And there's a little spot on his cape there that, again, not a huge deal, but for as expensive as this figure is, that's a little disappointing. Overall, though, I do like him. I am kind of 50-50 right now on whether I regret purchasing him or not. I like the way he looks. I like his mobility. The styling on the suit and everything is really great. But the worry I have of breaking him is huge. I feel like when I was opening the box, I felt like one of the guys on Lost when they were moving that dynamite that was sweating and it was about to blow up any second. I was like, oh God, if this guy breaks, if this guy fucking breaks, I'm going to lose it. So I would purchase with caution. The longer these figures are out, maybe they'll improve them, so maybe there'll be a reproduction or something at some point. Maybe wait for that. I've heard Mezco might do figures. I'm not really familiar with them. I don't think I own any Mezco figures. But if they're more durable and still look good, it might be a better option. Anyway, YouTube, I appreciate you checking out my review. I hope it was informative for you, and I hope I helped you make up your mind, although I'm not sure that I did, because like I said, I'm kind of 50-50 myself. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy.